What's up, guys? I hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we will be tackling exercise 45 of our Python exercise tutorial series. Without any further ado, let's get to it. Exercise 45. Words like first, second, and third are referred to as ordinal numbers. In this exercise, you will write a function that takes an integer as its only parameter and returns a string containing the appropriate English ordinal number as its only result. Your function must handle the integers between 1 and 12, inclusive. It should return an empty string if a value outside of this range is provided as a parameter. Include a main program that demonstrates your function by displaying each integer from 1 to 12 and its ordinal number. Okay guys, so looking at this prompt, the text prompt for this program, we see that it is nothing too difficult, right? One thing I'd like to mention, you'll notice that out of all the function exercises we've been looking at and working through so far, I'm sure that you already probably noticed and picked up on the fact that every one of these exercises have a similar structure or layout, you'll call it, right? I mentioned this before in another function video that we looked at. Essentially what I mean is that every one of these programs that we are dealing with these function exercises, they have a main function in which input is taken in and output is given out. That's what the main function does, right? Takes in input and gives out output. And then there's these other functions that's scattered around the program that are responsible for processing, right? Processing this input. So essentially, the main program executes, and within the main function executes, and within the main function, we have these calls to other functions that are scattered or spread out. That's how the control flow of the program is kind of messed with and sort of tampered with, right? Because the main function has calls to other functions inside it. And so, the program sort of jumps around to execute the program in order. So I do hope that short explanation or a little bit of insight makes sense to you. So let's get to it. Nothing difficult for this one. I begin as usual. We'll start off setting a main function. Let's perform reading of input. Essentially, this line here is the important one. You will write a function that takes an integer as its only parameter. That's fine. Essentially, what this tells us is that we are only reading in one input. We only need one input prompt. So I'm going to be short and simple. I'll call my num is equals to int input. Please enter or let's say your number. That's good. And from within this main function, we can, set up the output statement. So we'll say print the integer value of %d, let's say equates to an ordinal, yeah, spelled that right, number of, and yeah, %s should be fine. Let's just provide some formatting, and we leave the parenthesis or the tuple for the formatting of the placeholder. We leave it blank for now, right? Because we still need to define the function that's going to be responsible for processing. So I'll come up or above the main function and I will define now my function. Maybe let's call it integer ordinal. So this function is the one that's doing processing, right? It's kind of doing the logic. It's applying the logic that's going to work behind the scenes. Now, it tells us this function should handle integers between 1 and 12 inclusive, and the same logic function or processing function needs to return an empty string if this value is outside of this, or if a value outside of this range is provided as a parameter. So nothing too difficult. I should mention, and I've said this many times before, guys, there's more than one way to go about solving a Python program. It depends on the way in which you interpreted the text prompt, or the way in which you are looking at things. It all depends on the perspective. So within this processing function for converting the integer to ordinal, we pass in num, as you see in the parameter, or in the parenthesis rather. Now let's do a simple if check. First things first, let's first check if the number is outside this range, meaning if it's less than 1 or greater than 12. Yes, that's fine. So let's actually do this. If num less than equal to 0, or num greater than 12. Let's set up a return string. So they told us, right? Function should return an empty string if a value outside of this range is provided, and which is indeed what we did. We are checking if the number that the user has entered is equal to 0 or is less than 0, or if the number is greater than 12, which means it's not equal to 12, because as you know 12 is supported, right? It's inclusive. Then in this case, or this scenario, we'll return to the main program an empty string, right? That's good. Let's proceed to set up our else. Now is kind of time for like the lengthy uh, if elif else ladder. So nothing difficult, guys. We are catering for numbers 1 to 12. So let's get to it. If num is equals to 1, return first elif num is equals to 2, return second. So I think what I'll do is probably just copy and paste this elif, so it'll save us a bit of time, hopefully. So 1 2 3, then we'll return here third. Let's do 4. Let's hope I'm spelling this stuff right. So yeah, that's fourth. This will be 5, so fifth. Then comes number 6, so sixth. Seventh, EIGHTH, I think. Yeah, that's fine. So eighth, ninth, 10th, ELEVENTH, 11th, and this is the last one, 12th. Excellent, guys. That is our if elif else ladder. Now, this really should be all for the program. What's left now to do, now that we've catered for the decision making that was requested, all we need to do is come back to the main function and provide that formatting for our placeholders. There's two, right? The integer value of %d, so num needs to take that place, and after that we'll probably just leave it as is. One thing that I should have done is I should call int ordinal. So let's do that. Int ordinal, and we're calling it with num, so that's good. We passing num int ordinal num. Excellent, guys. This should give us an integer for %d placeholder and a string which is being returned by int ordinal, and it's going to take the place of %s, right? And you see we're passing it in as a formatting for the placeholder. Most important thing is calling the main function, because there's no point in us defining 10 20 30 functions in the program if we forget to call the main one that's going to start the execution of program events. So with that being done there, let's proceed to run this script, and then we'll end the video. please enter your number. So let's try and check if the program can catch those illegal input values. So I'm doing 45 just for fun. Or let's do 13 since 12 is the cap. Yeah, that's good. It's supposed to be like that because we are returning a blank value. So since we've answered the question, the text prompt, I think it would be better if we maybe returned just like, three underscores. Makes us know that the program does not support it. See, that's a bit better. So let's do a value that's actually supported, maybe 5. The integer value of 5 equates to an ordinal number of fifth. This is quite an interesting program. The integer value of 12 equates to an ordinal number of 12th. That's good. So guys, I do hope you are finding these tutorials and exercises, interesting. And I do hope that you are learning, one or two new things in Python, or it's just helping you to get that well-deserved experience, because to be honest, I am having fun pushing out content like this for you. It enables me and helps me to learn a lot, as well as test myself on what I know. And it allows me to help you because I mentioned this before. This is probably like the third time I'm saying it. When I used to do Python in 2020, I used to have a difficult time trying to find um, exercises that helped me as a beginner to get that experience. So that is the goal of my channel, to help literally everyone around the world with technology related concepts. So with that, I think we have successfully completed this exercise as we know. And with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your work, and I'll see you in the next YouTube video.